Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look here at GMT, see what's going on. Of course, mentioned I'd keep a close eye on this here because I get a lot of requests for this one here. So that being said, I just know, not a financial advisor if you are just new to the channel. I love teaching people how to trade. Hope you could learn something here today. I have a trading community, academy, and signal group, kind of a hybrid, essentially an all-in-one stop for you to become a better trader. CryptoCache.tech is the website, link in the description below if you want to consider becoming a member. I look forward to working with you. Take a look here though at GMT, big picture, what we're looking at here first of all. Same as before, nothing much has changed except for the fact that we have a pullback after a significant increase up to the highest, well not highest, but basically that's a 2 on Fibonacci retracement, telling us we've essentially 2x'd this coin since it hit its highest most previous point. Okay, so excellent stuff in that sense. That being said, $4.20 is pretty much the highest point in which the price would travel today. Okay, that's based on previous Fibonacci retracement levels. We can definitely redraw these out here soon, but generally speaking, that's kind of what we're looking at here for the moment with the current situation. Now, the great thing about this is the fact that with this previous resistance level right here at about 372, as I mentioned yesterday, we needed to close above that. You can see how it just came down to bounce perfectly right off 372 before it took off again. Very, very common for price discovery to retest its previous resistance as a support level and reaffirm itself to the upside. That's essentially what GMT did today. Now we have a pullback, of course, we'll look at that closer. It could be possibly because Bitcoin is retracing or just in general, it's kind of a little bit on the volatile side. There are some sharp increases and decreases so far today. But regardless of that fact, GMT is doing very well. We have this nice handle cup without the handle pattern where the price just continued to go past that point and essentially didn't even bother to come down to retest. So that's a really awesome situation here. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the obvious stuff. 50-day set moving average is traveling well behind it. This is like the 51st day of trading, so we've got the 50 kind of joining the scene. It's kind of moving concurrent with this ascending type of pattern. And what we probably want to do is just draw out these, let's go ahead and replace that. I'll put that up here in a moment. And what we want to do is kind of just put this out here a little bit further so we can kind of see what's going on here and potential for the support, but also this continuation. Because we could see there's almost a full 5-day pattern where we continue to make higher lows and this trend line is continuing. So we could even tighten it up a little bit, but we'll leave it kind of there for the moment because I do think that it might need some time before we see a significant increase, perhaps a little bit more consolidation at the support level before it can break free. But for right now, we're looking very, very good. And what we want to kind of look at is kind of the short term, what's going to happen next and where are we going to go soon. We can see that key level Fibonacci retracement level at 0.618 here, essentially just reaffirming the fact that that is a strong level. So 372 should still be the bottom. That's essentially what it's telling us, because 0.618 and 0.5 are two key level supports. In my opinion, I've noticed the most experience with the price averaging itself out in that range. In other words, the fact of the matter is it came down and bounced off that level. It shouldn't come down to break 372, but if it were to, 357 should be a nice secondary support there. That's kind of what it's telling us here. That being said, as far as potential, we'll look at big picture potential here for GMT as well, but I want to kind of finish the one day and just take a quick look at, once again, the RSI. We're back up over 70 or still over 70 from yesterday, and it's going to maintain itself for some time. If you see what it did previously, it increased quite significantly up over 70 and eventually tapered off. So we had 2 strong green days followed by a red day. Not to say today or tomorrow will be red, but the likelihood of a continuation higher from here without further consolidation is less likely, just based on the fact that we do have, in general, less volume now than we did previously with these first increases. So again, the volume's kind of averaging itself out, so to speak, so the price should do so as well. Kind of get that average true range at a higher price point. Speaking of average true range, just go ahead and take a quick look at kind of just how much volume we have and where. Obviously, we got the most amount of volume there, but if we take that out of the equation and we look at the most recent data, obviously as well, $2.26 is the most amount of volume as well. So that really just reaffirms the fact that if we were to lose this ascending type of pattern, it could retrace as far down as about 227 as a worst case. Again, just kind of preparing you for worst case scenario. You never truly know how long something will continue. It still looks very healthy. Still has a volume to back it up, but generally speaking, that's something to note, is that volume is a very strong support level in most cases. And if we were to kind of zoom in just a little bit further and take the most recent data, just say as of April 15th, maybe just say about 2 weeks worth of trading data, again, this is quite obvious, but again, $3.20 right in this range here is a strong support level. So if the price were to continue to retrace from here, we should expect some support right in the 320 range, if nothing else. So that'd be like a dollar cost average target if the price were to start retracing down, and then perhaps 220 I think it was as the other area in which we had the largest amount of volume accumulation. So again, just some things to kind of think about there. Looking at the 4 hour though, we have a significant 4 hour candle followed by some continuation here. So we are probably getting closer to a turnaround. We're at a 6, and we might actually be, if this candlestick closes where it's at, we might get a reset, which would be healthy. In other words, it might try to come back down and test this support level 372 again. Keep in mind, it's tested once and twice in the last 24 hours. So just note that that's working as a strong support, but the more often you test anything, it's going to essentially break potentially. So again, I think we're still safe and solid at 372 is probably the likely lowest point, but that is essentially something to acknowledge. We're also tapering off under 70 on the RSI. I love to see this. This is very healthy. This is the right way to go, because with this significant increase here, which was how much percent? About 20% in only about a 4 hour time frame. That's a decent amount of growth, and it needs to, in most cases, correct itself, in which what we're seeing here is the price mostly going sideways and the RSI coming down. That's extremely important to see that, because the fact that it's telling us that it's able to maintain this price point. The longer it stays here, the better off we're going to be. So again, good stuff there in that sense, and we also have very, very over-exaggerated simple moving averages, exponential moving averages, the 12 and the 26 on the MACD here, the moving average convergence divergence. Nothing to really worry about there, but it is kind of telling us that the bulls are losing control, or that momentum is potentially shifting. Once again, that doesn't tell us much at all, but it does imply that we could see the price continue to maintain that the current sideways action, and maybe not just ramp up and take off completely. And I only say that just because of the simple fact that that it's ramped up quite a lot already. I think it's up about 30%, if I'm not mistaken, from its initial push from yesterday. So 24 hours ago, we were down in the $3.30 range. Now we're averaging at $3.82. We've got to recognize that the likelihood of a push up again, albeit is very, very much a realistic probability, it's not ideal in the grand scheme of growth. If we want to continue to maintain this trend line, we can't have these parabolic increases like we're seeing. Those need to slow down, taper off. We need to start seeing some healthier staircase patterns. Looking at the 1 hour though, let's go ahead and just quickly double check a couple things. We'll call it a day here. The cloud is kind of telling us that, albeit we are above the cloud, and that's a very positive thing, the lagging span intersecting with the price action, and the conversion line and the baseline are intersecting as well. Those are typically two signs to sell your position or to close your position potentially. Again, it's not a guarantee, but it definitely helps you understand that, hey, this momentous trend is waning. It's starting to dissipate, and in turn, we need to acknowledge and respect the fact that it might be on its way down, or at the very least sideways, to travel into the cloud and to bounce off the lower lead. There's different scenarios that could happen, but ideally that's roughly what we're looking at. Take a look at your TD sequential. We got a reset down to a 7, and we previously hit a 5. So it's kind of jumping all over the place. We're not hitting these true 9s that you typically do see on a continuation patterns, and that's normal because of the fact that we had this sharp increase, pull back to the previous resistance level, now established as a support, and then a push up to an 8, almost hit a 9. So it had about 8 hours of continuation. Now it's back down 8 hours as well. Very, very standard, very normal for price discovery, but again, violent, tumultuous type of situations here, and in general, the 1 hour time frame is telling us that while we may experience an increase in perhaps the near future, we're still at this point where we might want to consider trimming or taking some profits. That's essentially what it's telling us here. Again, not telling you to sell your entire bag, just take a little bit, maybe collect some profits. Price comes down to retest 372 dollar cost average again whenever possible. There's a lot of different strategies that you can entertain here. I have a lot of them, of course, that I provide in my trading academy. So if you want to check that out, at CryptoCache.tech again as a site where you can learn to become a better trader. But bottom line here, GMT looks overall very strong. It hasn't given us any indication that it wants to turn around. We're essentially seeing the same exact pattern happening over and over again. Just bear in mind, if it were to come up again and try this the third time, it may potentially be less successful because the more often you continue to repeat these trends, the more likely they are to not happen, right? Because a trend can only occur so many times in a row before it's just kind of an interesting coincidence. So at this point, GMT looks very strong. I'm not telling you to sell your position at all. In fact, I think long-term big picture looks like it still wants to continue to grow. We just need to ensure that the volume doesn't start to taper off, and that's something we haven't seen yet. So this is really, all in all, pretty good. So I would say, stamp of approval on this one, definitely looking good. Again, if you're going to invest right now, I don't think you're too late, but I don't think you should also go all in either. You should never do that, actually. That's just the truth of the matter. But I just kind of reiterate and urge you to exercise caution and not try to be one of those persons that tries to capitalize on one coin. Try to diversify a little bit more. Those are, again, things I like to cover in my community, my trading academy, and the signals I send out too. You'll kind of understand the proper structure for a trade depending on the environment that you're in. And right now, some altcoins are surging. There are very specific ones like ApeCoin, and there's a couple of others as well that are really off the charts here today. But that does happen when Bitcoin dominance starts to come down. So I think as Bitcoin continues to spend more time in the 37 to 42,000 range, we're going to start seeing some interesting behavior from coins that have a large, massive adoption, so to speak. They have a large amount of capitalization, and those coins are the ones that are taking off right now and doing quite well. So all good stuff here from GMT. I guess that's the bumper sticker version. All good stuff. In fact, I think I'll make that the title. All right, well, hey, thanks again for joining me. If you want to become a better trader, again, CryptoCache.tech is the site. Thank you so much as well to my current community members for just being an amazing part of my life. I thank you very much for just, honestly, everything. It's great to be able to get you the benefits that you want, and it's so rewarding to be able to hear the positive feedback. So thanks again for that. I look forward to having a good time with you in the next one. We'll see you in the next great video. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.